Hey guys, I want to welcome you guys to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. Every week, I interview a entrepreneur, business owner, coach to inspire you. Hopefully, you get insights into the four types of freedom, where I talk about time, financial, location, and health freedom. So today, I'm happy to introduce Karen Gray, and she's an executive business coach and brand consultant, helping high-profile leaders scale up or off the corporate ladder to create a life they don't need to escape from. So she was previously a financial advisor for over 3 decades. Today's talk is going to be all about embracing your fears, living intentionally, and creating lifestyle freedom. So Karen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, 3 decades sounds so much longer than 30 years. I don't know why, but I'm so glad to be here and share all of the wisdom that I've gained in those 30 years and just help people have a better life. I love that.
Yeah, tell everybody your background, your story, how you got started, and what you do.
Well, thank you. I started in banking and credit unions. That evolved into taking on a role as a branch manager to do the financial services and investment advisory for the credit union I worked for at the time. And after 30 years serving in banking, finance, financial advisory, I really just was completely burnt out. And along that route, I had started coaching with young girls on confidence and speaking and interview skills for pageants, and really saw so many similarities that these young girls were struggling with confidence and feeling like they weren't valuable enough to earn this title. And my female clients who were struggling in corporate positions or struggling, maybe they had made a lot of money, but they couldn't manage it. And they were just all of these similar issues. It all went back to this internal view of their own value, their perception of their value. And I found that so fascinating that I began studying about that and really found that that was my passion. And so I began to get trained and really dive into the personal development piece around the coaching. Just fell in love with coaching. I felt like my passion found me in this journey, but launched full-time in my coaching career, walked away from financial services in 2000 and officially launching my business in 2000. So I just feel really blessed to be able to live a life that I don't have to escape from every single day because I'm just serving others. That brings me so much joy. But today I work with executive women, high profile women that just don't feel safe saying these things in their spaces. Really, we have to be strong as women. We have to be strong as leaders, male or female. And so to offer them a safe place to begin to process these things, because we've carried these for far too long. They've impacted so many pieces of our lives, and mainly our bank account.
Yeah, that's really fascinating because I know today's, we want to know one of the key topics is value awareness and value quotient, which is I'm always in the marketplace for new terms and how to, frame things. So we'll just get right into it. Just tell us what is this new awareness is, this value quotient, and we can delve more.
I love that. Thank you for asking about that. So what you're referring to is what I shared a little bit. So we know, everybody knows what IQ is, right? Our intellectual abilities and intelligence. And then a new hot topic or hot subject is EQ, right? Your emotional intelligence, or how emotionally aware you are of what's going on in a conversation or the room and reading people. And I coined the phrase, or am coining the phrase, VQ. So your value awareness or your value intelligence. And so IQ is your brain, EQ is your emotions, and VQ is your internal value. And so how do you perceive yourself as being valuable? Do you perceive your own worth and your value just as a human being, just as a spirit that was born here and has a calling? And if you don't, we begin to see, if you don't value yourself, we begin to see this linear link between how you show up the conversations you have, how you feel in the room, and how you can feel like an imposter, or you can feel like you're being judged or less than, and it creates some resistance and anger at times. And often it impacts your relationships, it impacts your career, it impacts your ability to scale and create a life that you love. And then it definitely impacts how you're able to earn money or step into spaces to be more of yourself. And then also just how you manage your money once you get it. Because if you don't value yourself, you're also not going to value the things that you've earned. It's just so intricately entwined like a three-stranded cord: value, worth, and money.
This is a really fascinating topic because working with a lot of clients, they don't feel like they're worthy, and a lot of it's coming from this insecurity or this emotional trauma, childhood trauma, and that's what drives them. Some of the most successful people they come from this place of anger, and so it's really important.
So just to your point, people like that, they tend to go one way or the other. They either self-destruct or they become highly driven, right? They have to prove. They feel like they have to prove to everybody that they're not those things that they have convinced themselves they are. But that's where the imposter syndrome, that we call it, which it's just a way of coping, but that's where that imposter monster rises up, because I have to prove to everybody. But at the same time that I'm trying to prove it and trying to be good enough, I don't believe that I am. So there's this, that dichotomy that's happening at the same time, these reverse polarizing opinions of, I don't think I'm good enough, but I'm trying to prove that I am. But I don't think I'm good enough, but I'm trying to prove that I am. And so just imagine what would happen if you truly believed that you were. You could step into rooms and fully own your gifts and own your power. And now it's not convincing anybody. Now it's just showing up.
Yeah, very powerful. And, especially I know you help a lot of female entrepreneurs and executives. So, one thing is that brings up to mind is this idea of imposter syndrome. We all, and, it's actually quite, if you feel like you walk into a room and you feel like you just don't belong.
Yeah. And it's not limited to women, men experience it too. I can just speak from a female perspective. So that's really why I'm focusing on the women, but I do counsel and coach with men as well. And they struggle with it too. And it's even harder for them to articulate it. Women, we talk about it, it's pretty public, but men really do struggle with it as well. And stepping into a room where you said you feel like, I don't belong here. I mean, I experienced that last week. I was in a mastermind where I'm sitting across the table from people that are making a huge difference in the world. I mean, like working with the Vatican and the Pope and making billions of dollars. And I had to remind myself, and this is if I could give your listeners one takeaway, no one in that room could be Karen Gray. Whatever that means, I knew and I know I have a calling on my life to do something. I'm here for a reason or I wouldn't be here. And so you are here for a reason or you would not be here. And so whatever room you step into, no one can be you with your unique story, your unique gifts, your unique talents, everything that you bring, no one can be you. Thus, no one can impact the people you're called to impact. And that's what I reminded myself of. And that's what I remind myself of every single day. There's a reason I'm here. There's a reason I'm on this podcast. And there's a reason you're here, Christopher. So if we can just continue to believe that, think of the things that we could accomplish. That value awareness, just knowing our value is that we're here for a reason. It impacts everything.
What's interesting is also, so, we talked a lot. Tell us more about, we have these like key ideas that I like to, and you talk about alpha males and alpha females in the workplace.
So if you're not familiar with an alpha, it's a slang term for really just someone that shows up with really strong masculine energy, right? We're energetic beings. We have this energy, and each of us possesses, think of estrogen and testosterone, right? We have this masculine energy, this testosterone driven energy. That's the energy that causes us to get stuff done, right? We're in action. We're going to move. We're going to get stuff done. We're taking charge. Everyone has it. Women have it too. We have a masculine presence, and then we have a nurturing or the feminine energy. So that's the softer side. Think of the snuggles, the energy that's very nurturing and holds space for things. We all possess both, but an alpha, male or female, is more driven. They're that, if you're familiar with the disc, they're the driver. They're the A-type personalities. And so when you have someone that is in a leadership position, very alpha, and you have someone rising up trying to support them, very alpha, it can be very combative. Both people are trying to take the helm or take the steering wheel at the same time. And so the key there is to really own, number one, if you own your value, no one's a competition. No one can be me. And so this other person who's really trying to rise up, recognizing what are they great at? What am I great at? Are there differences? How can we collaborate and work together so that I can shine, they can shine, we shine together, everyone wins. We rise the tide together and lift all boats. So it's really just about presence and awareness of what it is that we bring to the table, without having, I mean, there's a lot of phrases that we could call it, a competition. We'll just say, we'll keep it G-rated, have a competition between the two. So, but that alpha male, alpha female, really strong presence can be very polarizing to a team that is watching this happen. So it's really destructive if you don't get control of it.
The other, while we're on it, I know what you're talking about, these slang terms, and I think most of the listeners know as well. But, while we're on that topic, you have this idea where you called facing your F word.
So fear, faith, finances, and freedom. And so if you really look at everything that you desire, at the core of it are those things, right? We're spirit-led beings. So there's a level of faith. What do you believe in? What are you afraid of? So that's where those imposter things can come up. I'm afraid of being seen. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of letting people down. I'm afraid of not being a success and not making the money. Finances, we all want to have a life of abundance, or we all want a certain life. And how are we showing up to earn that, to achieve it? Freedom looks different for everybody. But if you focus on those 4 F words, the real true F words, that's where that genuine overall sense of I'm not living a life I'm trying to escape from.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. What kind of we're about 2/3 of the way through.
That's gone quick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, these podcasts usually. What is the one thing you wish all women knew about confidence?
Oh, wow. I think that the thing that I have learned, which is what I teach, is that confidence is not something that I can get from anyone else. Someone can't make me more confident. I think with the value, the VQ that I talk about, we think that if I could just have the right lifestyle, have the right house, the right husband, the right family, the right clothes, live in the right neighborhood, have the right amount of money, the right things, I would then feel valuable. I would then feel confident. And so we live in this land of if and then. So if I do this, then I'll feel good. But really, confidence starts from just knowing who I am is different than everyone else on this planet. So there is a reason I'm here. No one else can do what I'm called to do. So seeing my inherent value just in that. So being confident that whatever it is I'm here to do, no one else can do it the way I can.
Very interesting. How can people contact you, follow you, check out your work, etc.?
You can find me anywhere on any platform, and my website is Coach Karen. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm not on Twitter, but Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Coach Karen Gray, and that's spelled KarenGray if you're just listening. But I've got a group coaching program starting the end of March. If you're listening to this before March 30th, you can still get in. There's a few spots available. I've got retreats coming up, and I do private one-on-one coaching. So my website, coachkarengray.com, you can find more information and connect.
And with that, let's thank Karen for coming onto the show. All of her resources will be in the links and show notes, as well as her social media profile and handle. And with that, thanks so much for coming onto the show, Karen.
Thanks, Christopher. I really appreciate the opportunity and love what you're doing to support other people as well. Very much like-minded. Thank you.